Here are some thoughts on what I call working at heights. So I mean shifting up to the top fret and working a little bit beyond the top fret. Just some thoughts and ideas as to how we might do that more accurately and with less sense of panic as to where we might find those notes. So first of all, let's think about getting to the top fret. If you're playing a treble, you can stretch it, can't you? You don't have to shift to get to the top. If you're playing a bass, or even quite a lot of tenors, you do actually need to make a proper shift to get there. I see an awful lot of people sticking out their forefinger and sort of hoping it's going to reach the top fret. And maybe it does. And then they go looking for the odd note behind it. And their hand is in a shape that is completely unfamiliar. If you're down here and you've got your forefinger here, you know exactly where your first and your second fingers are behind it. If you've gone up here with your 4 and your whole hand is stretched out, there's nothing familiar about the shape of this. So the most critical thing we have to do when we shift is to take our thumb with us. You have to take the same hand shape that you would have down here in half position or first position. You have to take the whole thing with you as we get further down the fingerboard, because then at least you're taking something that feels familiar. So absolute golden rule of shifting, make sure that your thumb goes with you. So let's start on the top string with our first finger on the second fret. So we're in first position, playing an E. We're going to move to the top fret with a 4. And we're going to check that we have taken our thumb as well, that we're not reaching out and leaving the thumb behind. First fret, whole hand to a 4 at the top, whole hand back. It means you cannot be holding the fingerboard absolutely vice-like grip between your fingers and your thumb. It's a really good test. It's very revealing about how much tension and how much stress there is in the thumb on the back of the fingerboard. It should be absolutely relaxed and completely possible to just shift your whole hand. I also think it's perfectly acceptable to look where you're going. In an ideal world, obviously, once we get the hang of it, we can find the top fret without having to look, because we're going to have our eyes on the music, and you can't always be looking at the fingerboard and then looking back and looking at the fingerboard and looking back. But I think it's important that you accurately teach your hand what that shift feels like. And the way to do it accurately to start with is to watch, and that's fine. And what you're doing is thinking, how far is it? What does it feel like to get that far? And you're training in accurate muscle memory so that when you don't look, your hand has something to remember. You've built in a memory of that shift when it was accurate. So that's from the first finger. What if we change fingers and we go from a 2 instead? So we're still in first position, but we're shifting from a second finger. Are you building in a memory of what that feels like? Is it relaxed in your left hand? How about a third finger? Take your whole hand with you, thumb included. So that's useful if the highest note you want to play is an A. What if the note you actually want is a B flat? I reckon that rather than going looking for a B flat, what we should actually be looking for is the top fret, but with our third finger, so that we've got a guide for our fourth finger to find the B flat. So I think the shift we need to practice is to a third finger on the top fret. So we're going to do exactly the same thing, starting in first position, first finger, but the top fret is now with a 3. You're consciously thinking about how far you're having to move. Taking your thumb with you and taking it back again. Now what if we go from a 2? And from a 3 at the bottom? And we've done that in order to be able to find that note. What if the highest note you want isn't a B flat? What if it's a B natural? What you actually need to find is a second finger on the top fret, so that we know where to find the B natural, because a whole tone between 2 and 4 is something we're quite used to, isn't it, down here? As long as your thumb is with you, that B natural is no longer in no man's land up here. It's just a tone above the top fret. And you can find that top fret really accurately with your second finger. So we're back in first position on the top string. Top fret, but this time with a 2. Are the neighbours complaining yet? If they're not, you haven't practiced it enough. Let's go from a second finger instead. Second again. And from a third finger. Achieved by that is we've bought ourselves a whole tone over that top fret. What if the top note you want is a C? The shift you need is to a 1 on the top fret, so that you can accurately find that C. So here we go again. First position, top fret, but with a first finger. How far is it? What does it feel like? Could you do it without looking? What about a second finger? And a third finger. And what we've found is the C at the top, but we found it by using the top fret as a safe platform to work from in order to find the next few notes that are above it. So your shift is always to the top fret in order to go beyond it.